I've said before that budget mechs are getting better, so let's see how this Rakk Lam-Ang Pro fares. And first of all, like the illest I checked out a while back, this is primarily available in the Philippines. So this video will mainly be for them, but I've seen this keyboard under different brands, so you may be able to find it elsewhere. And I did receive this keyboard early, so this may not represent the final product. Okay, so there's two main versions of the Lam-Ang. There's the Lam-Ang Lite, which uses our Temu switches and our Temu hot swap sockets, therefore pretty much being only hot swappable with other our Temu key switches. Then we have the Lam-Ang Pro, and this comes in 3 different configurations. There's one with Calebox white key switches, one with Calespeed bronze key switches, and then a bare bones version which does not come with any key switches, keycaps, or extra top covers. One I have today is the Calespeed bronze Lam-Ang Pro. In the hands there's a bit of flex, but nothing to be worried about, and it is packing some decent weight as it has the internal steel plate. And while we do have it like this, let's look at the hot swap feature. So my one came with Calespeed bronze key switches, but more importantly it has Cal hot swap sockets. This is very different to the Temu hot swap sockets that you see on many budget mechs, as those pretty much only accept our Temu key switches. The Cal sockets on the other hand accept pretty much all MX style switches, like it says on the box, universal. So that means Cherry MX, Gatoron, Cal of course, our Temu, etc, they all fit, and the RGB SMD LEDs are out of the way, so that's all good. But if you have 5-pin PCB mount key switches, you would have to snip off the plastic prongs. Anyway, let's put the caps on so we can have a better look at the keyboard. It comes with 3 different top covers. We have the default metallic grey, there's white, and also a darker metallic grey / black. There's not a huge amount of difference between these two, but it is still noticeable in different lighting conditions. To swap them out, there's a bunch of Phillips head screws around the keyboard, and once you unscrew them, you have to unclip the plastic piece. So what I like to do is put my finger in where the USB-C port is and just pull up. You don't want to be super forceful as it is just plastic tabs, and being plastic tabs they can snap and break, although I haven't had that issue. Over time they probably will become more prone to breaking, especially if you constantly change them. I did like the illest because it had a magnetic top cover instead, so there was no risk there. Unscrewing and screwing these screws in are pretty annoying as well. I just left mine off and the keyboard does seem to stay together pretty well. The aesthetic design of the keyboard is quite nice actually. I really like the simplistic look with rounded corners and chamfer all the way around. The sides are also clean as can be, just being flat. The only thing that does disrupt this a bit is the scroll wheel and buttons above the arrow keys. But that's just a personal aesthetic thing, and it is a feature of the keyboard as well, as many people do like to have a volume wheel. And while I don't like the look of it, I really did like actually using it to control volume, so I can understand the appeal. And it also controls backlighting brightness. And yep, this keyboard has customizable RGB backlighting and therefore backlit keycaps. These are pretty thin 1mm ABS caps, but are double shot, so the legends are another piece of plastic and will never fade away, and there's a bunch of effects and patterns that you can go through. Now, I have seen that there is software for this keyboard, as my friend from Shopzada PH has covered it in his awesomely in-depth review, but there's no mention of it in the quick start guide and nothing on the website, so without asking, I have no idea where it is, so definitely check out his video if you want to learn more about that, but it looks like the usual. On the rear we have our USB Type-C port. Again, almost all new boards are adopting that. Although the opening is pretty small, I had two cables in my bedroom and both didn't fit, so that was annoying. And we also have a USB pass-through so you can connect whatever to it, and it also lights up, which is pretty cool. The other big feature of this keyboard is that it has Bluetooth. This is something that's becoming more and more common with mechs, which is nice to see, as even back like a year or two ago that was super rare. So first you need to turn on the switch on the back and switch to Bluetooth mode by pressing FN plus tab. This keyboard can pair up to 3 devices which are on the Q, W and E keys. So to pair, you press FN plus Q, W or E and then set it up on your device. It's easy and it seems to work perfectly well. The performance to me seems absolutely fine, although for the most part I was only using this for typing and casual use, so no gaming. But I didn't notice much latency and there wasn't any skipped key presses or anything, so overall I'm pretty happy with the wireless performance. They state it has a battery life of 48 hours with the 2000 mAh battery. I used it on and off for like a week and it's still going strong. So yeah, sorry I don't really have an accurate battery life statement. As for the actual typing experience, I really liked it. It's interesting that they only have 2 switch options for the Pro version, both being KO clickies, both being click by clickies that feel quite similar. But yeah, they are nice clickies and I do prefer click bar over click jacket as the click is more crisp and sharp, although with the bronze and whites there's not much of a bump. They're very loud and have 2 clicks rather than 1, and here's how they sound. The impressive thing for me is that the stabilizers have minimal rattle. It's always masked quite a bit with clicky boards, but they are actually lubed, so that's great. Opening up the keyboard is pretty easy with a bunch of Phillips head screws on top. Interestingly, there's foam that goes between the PCB and the bottom plastic piece. It should make the typing experience slightly better, but I guess it wasn't super noticeable with the clickies, but it is nice that they did that. And in the bottom piece we have our 2000 mAh battery. The mounting plate is made from 1.5mm steel, which gives the keyboard most of its weight and rigidity. And here's the PCB and the Kale hot swap sockets. Completely different to the Artemu ones and require the PCB to specifically accommodate them. And as you can see, the contacts have a spring action, so the pins just slide straight in and won't be too tight. Overall, I'm super impressed with this keyboard. Again, this is primarily available in the Philippines, but I have seen this sort of board under different brands. The light version with Artemu switches and sockets comes in at around 2000 PHP. The Pro bare bones with Kale sockets is a bit more expensive, and the ones with everything go just over 3000. So they are going away from the low end budget range, but that's completely understandable for what we get. There's not many keyboards with Kale hot swap sockets, which allow us to hot swap any key switch. It has customizable RGB backlighting. There's removable top covers, although I would be wary of the plastic clip durability over time. There's USB pass-through, and it has Bluetooth capabilities, which is awesome. Barebones may be the way to go, especially if you don't want clicky switches, because that's all it comes with, and the keycaps aren't all that great. But if you like the look of it and are in the feels, this is definitely a compelling choice even in this slightly higher price range, as it's packing a heap of features and backs up my point, budget mechs are getting better.